what I like to share with you is kind of my Soul-utions philosophy on how to access not only your spiritual power, but your inner strength. Because I believe our inner strength and power is connected to that part of us called our soul and spirit. And that we are challenged by our own ego that often denies anything that it can't, measure, understand, predict, and therefore, it often discounts or diminishes your relationship with your soul. So what I like to describe here is that the understanding of our relationship with the divine will help you to connect more deeply with your soul. So outside of time and space, if you look way up there in the very top above and outside of time and space, is the oneness of all that is. It is nirvana. It is the Holy Spirit in Christian terms. It is that oneness, that pure essence, that pure energy. Wanting to know itself, dividing into a duality, creating the goddess and creating God. And that is the true Trinity, God, Goddess, all that is. God, Goddess, the oneness of all that is, the sacred oneness. And that's the Trinity. And from the soul energy steps down to create from the goddess energy, it steps down to create the soul. Within each and every consciousness, there is the soul. Any living being, from the mineral, the plant, the animal kingdom, it creates a space for the soul to exist. And then the light of God, the light comes through and connects into spirit. So the light of God fills the soul with its presence, and the light and the grace of God, Goddess, is connected through the soul and spirit within all consciousness. Now that sounds great, Michaiel. That sounds cool. You've all heard different versions of that. But how do you connect with your soul and spirit? Well, the soul by its nature is feminine. It's connected to the goddess. And it's through the feminine energy that's in crisis in our world, but through the feminine energy, through the feminine consciousness is how you renew and deepen and connect more fully to value your soul. And now the spirit is connected to the masculine within you. And regardless of your gender, every human being has both masculine and feminine energy. It is the feminine energy of being, and it is the masculine energy of doing. But beyond that, what is consciousness of feminine energy? Because as you value and respect your feminine and masculine energy, and you bring them together, they give birth to wholeness. The oneness above, as you unite and connect with your soul and spirit through the masculine and feminine energy, they give birth to a sense of wholeness, empowerment, of peace, and of inner strength. So, what is feminine energy made up of? Its imagination is the feminine energy. Willpower is the masculine energy. Imagination and willpower need to work together. Its passion is feminine and compassion is masculine. When the passion and compassion blend together, there is a synergy that takes place. And it's also on the feminine energy level, it is creativity. Your creativity is anchored in the soul and the feminine energy, and it's your productivity that is the masculine expression of your creativity as they work together. Be creative and productive. And that's what needs to be balanced and honored. It is feelings, it is emotions, feminine, and it is thinking and logic and reason. That is masculine. You see, the feeling and the thoughts need to come together. Even so much so that in the Bible there's a quote, or a scripture, I guess is what they call them in the Bible. Not a quote. Oh, lunch is ready. Just kidding. That scripture is, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. What does that mean? As a man thinketh, as a person thinketh in his heart, as a person thinks with feeling. When you bring your thought and your feeling together, there's a synergy of power. And so many of us have used our thoughts to deny our feelings or avoid our feelings. We try to separate them and we deny that feminine energy of feeling. And it's yet the feeling that gives you the motivation. It's the feeling that gives you the power to create change in your life. So feelings and thoughts need to work together. Beyond that, your intuition is feminine and logic and reason is masculine. You need logic and reason and you need an intuition. And when you bring them together, you have a balanced resource within you to make trustworthy decisions. So the feminine energy is power. Pure power, the creative power, it is the feeling power, it is the power of passion, it is the power of creativity, it is the power of intuition. And when you take action upon that power, it becomes a strength. masculine. So power is feminine, strength is masculine. And to access your inner power and strength is to honor the feminine and the masculine energy equally. They're different, but they are equally valuable. And as you do that, you can heal this divide within yourself. And as you bring them together, they give birth to wholeness. They give birth to a deep sense of inner peace and strength. And that is where the oneness above becomes wholeness within you as you bring these relationship with your soul and spirit, connecting to God, Goddess, all that is. So your spirituality then becomes honoring the soul and spirit within all that is. It's not something you do once in a week. It's not something you do in a meditation. It's not about which books you read. Your spirituality is the way you live your life, day in and day out. Am I going to honor and respect and value the soul and spirit within all that is, meaning the mineral kingdom, the plant kingdom, the animal kingdom, and the human kingdom? It's my relationship to other people that is my spirituality, because they have a soul and spirit too, and they are connected to the divine. All of us are expressions and reflections of consciousness that is the divine. So my spirituality is the way I interact. It is my relationship to people, to plants, to animals. And depending on that relationship, it's a relationship with myself, with my feelings, with my feminine and masculine energy, with the God, Goddess, all that is, with my soul and spirit. And your soul and spirit is your electromagnetic life force energy. It is the electromagnetic life force energy. The electricity and the magnetism, the masculine and feminine. It is that energy that you either have abundance or you have limited. And when you can spark and deepen and renew and understand your soul, you can begin to feed it. You can begin to access and bring greater balance and harmony within yourself, within the masculine, feminine, within you, within your relationship with your soul and spirit. And so it's very important to consider that and to think about that, to expand your perception if you haven't already done so, but to begin to open up and consider, how can I feed my soul today? What nurtures and feeds the feminine energy? Well, the clues are in the expressions. Am I allowing myself to explore my passion and my creativity? Am I allowing myself to engage my imagination, to dream and to see what I would like to create and manifest in my future, to open up and to value the imagination, because all change begins in the imagination. And how you imagine yourself is your self-image. And your self-image precedes the reality. So I have to change the image of myself if I want to create the change in my reality. And what does that mean? Well, basically what that means is, if I want to, let's say, lose weight, or if I want to be in a loving relationship, can I imagine that? Can I see myself at the ideal weight? Can I see myself in a loving relationship? Can I imagine myself with greater abundance and prosperity? Can I imagine myself living in this part of the world? Whatever it is, if I can't imagine it, I won't let it manifest. So imagination is powerful. It is the birthplace of all that exists. From the camera that you're looking at, to the computer screen, to the clothing that you're wearing, to the room that you occupy, all began in someone's imagination. And yet, in a world of chauvinism that discounts, devalues the feminine energy, says, it's just your imagination. Don't waste your time. Don't be daydreaming. Be real. Be practical. Just go do stuff, right? Do stuff, the masculine energy. Don't sit and think and ponder and reflect. Don't meditate. Is a waste of time, is what that twist of chauvinism does. Is it devalues, it demonizes, it discounts the feminine energy. And so when you can begin to value your imagination, when you can make space and time to explore your passions. One of my passions is travel and adventure. I'm an adventure addict. I love to go out on adventures and travel and see new places. In the last year and a half with the pandemic, it's been really challenging to be able to do that. But as I allow myself to do that, it really opens up, and it feeds that part of my soul that loves the adventure of the unknown. And so passion, what are your passions? To make a list. What lifts and connects you? Because that's what passion does. The artist who has a passion for painting, they become one with the colors. They become one with the brushes. They become one with the canvas. They lose and they suspend time and space, and they go into that zone where they feel that oneness, that connection, and that creativity flowing through them so elegantly. And it's their grace that can be easily expressed. And when you do that, and when you make time, when you create time to feed your passions, you are also feeding your soul. So exploring your passions, making time for them, opening up and valuing your imagination. And then the next one is to allow yourself to be creative. And all of us are creative on some level. It may not be a common creativity. It might be a very unique creativity. Your creativity might be in organizing stuff. Your creativity might be in problem solving. Your creativity might be, in the traditional arts, painting or drawing or the music. The musician who becomes one with their instrument, they're suspended in that passion, and it feeds your soul. So make time for that. And then let yourself be creative. Let yourself explore the different creative potentials. Things that you maybe started back in high school or in junior high or when you were a child. Let yourself reopen. Make the space and time, knowing that not only am I going to spend time doing this, but I'm also going to start to tap into and feed and renew my soul energy. The other suggestion is also with your feelings, to make time to journal, to think, to feel, to let yourself express those feelings. Don't harbor them, because unexpressed emotion is what does the damage. Emotions are supposed to be in motion, emotion. They're supposed to be moving. And when we stagnate them, we repress them. And as they are repressed, they become destructive. So allow yourself time to feel the depth of your emotions. Then not only is that a part of the feminine energy, but it also helps you to gain greater clarity on what really matters to you. Because if you really think about it, everything you want in life, everything you say you want in life, all anchors into, it's going to make me feel a certain way. And we're waiting for events to make us feel this way instead of taking dominion and clearing out the emotional body. If there's old anger and old hurt or old depression or old whatever is inside of you, sadness, sit with it, feel it, squeeze it out of you, release the energy so that you make space for greater joy, for greater freedom, for a greater sense of your passion to flow and to get, quote, unstuck. And think about your feelings. Let your thoughts turn towards your feelings. And one of the best ways I do that, and that I've learned, is to journal, is to write me and my anger, or me and my sadness, or me and my loneliness, or me and my fear, whatever the feeling is that you're wanting to process, to write that at the top and just start writing free flow. Just let it come up. Don't worry about sentence structure or spelling. The purpose is to let yourself tap into that part of your consciousness. And why it's so valuable to write it down, not just sit and think about your feelings, is because you cannot think as fast as you cannot write as fast as you think. So by writing down your thoughts, you slow down your thinking. And when you slow down your thinking, you tap into your subconscious mind where there's the warehouse of all this repressed emotion. So all of a sudden you start writing and you're slowing down your thinking, you're dipping into the alpha level of your brain and you're tapping into the subconscious mind. And then all of a sudden you're going to have these memories bubble up. Oh my gosh, this reminds me of when I was in 5th grade and blah, 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 blah. And you start to write and write and write with the intention of expressing and releasing any emotions that is stuck, that is keeping you from the fullness of your power, of your strength, of your joy, and of your sense of connection. And so the emotional body, and I like this analogy I've used before in other classes, and that is, you've all heard about body, mind, spirit, right? Body, mind, spirit. Of course, they eliminate the soul because soul's feminine. So I always say body, mind, soul, and spirit. But the mind is the connection between your physical body and your spiritual energy. It's the mind that is the bridge. And if your mind is cluttered and distracted, if your mind is focused on duties and obligations and I don't have time for my passions and I'm stressed out and I just have to take care of everybody else and put myself last and all the stuff that the mind does, it can break and diminish the flow of your life force energy. Because the mind is not in your brain, it's in every cell in your body. And it contains, either it's in alignment with your soul and spirit or it's out of alignment. Now, it won't totally disconnect from your soul and spirit, it can't do that. But it can diminish the flow of energy. And you can choose to change your mind. Because that mind is the connection of your consciousness. And it's also the mind that is the creative, productive, all those parts of yourself that we were talking about is part of a condition of the mind. So make time. And another way that I have discovered how to deepen and renew your connection with your soul is to actually allow yourself to explore your element. Now, there are 4 basic elements: earth, air, water, fire. And one of them is connected to the soul essence, the soul energy. Is it the earth? Is it the water? Which one of those feeds your soul? And from the masculine spirit, is it fire? Is it air? Which one of those elements? And what seems to call you or renew you? When you go to the beach, which do you notice? The smell of the fresh air and the open, expansive light and space? What is it? Or is it the waves and the undulation of the waves and the warmth of the sand? What grounds you? Let yourself spend time in nature. Let yourself feed your soul that way. It can be tremendously valuable. And so I want to share that with you as well, to make time to be in nature. For me, the water element is my grace that allows me to get connected to my soul. And when I do anything, if I'm stressed out, if I'm frazzled or whatever, going through the daily routine and I feel disconnected with myself, I'll go take a hot shower or a hot bath. I love to go to the hot springs. I love to go to jacuzzis. I love to sit in water. It's just something about it just totally rejuvenates me, re-energizes me almost immediately. So look for yourself and see what element that you can bring into your life. What can you encourage yourself to explore? And to go out in nature and to find and to appreciate the beauty of nature is another way to feed your soul. It's one of the reasons why people go to the parks and the beaches on the weekend, because they feel so much better by just connecting with the beauty and the grace of all that is. The beauty of nature can really be a wonderful resource in helping you. So this weekend, make time to do that. This weekend, make time to feed your soul, to explore and to think about, what do I need to do to renew and deepen my connection with my soul? How can I deepen and renew my connection with my feminine energy? Again, regardless of your gender, to value those components of your passion, of your imagination, of your creativity, of your feelings, of your intuition, of your wisdom. There's so many components of feminine energy. Those are just a handful that I want to share with you that are common and that are necessary for all of us to balance with the masculine components of willpower, of productivity, of all the different components of thinking and logic and reason, and of that understanding that comes from wisdom. All of the components of the masculine, from compassion all the way to the understanding, are connected. And to value them equally. It's not about stopping valuing them and starting to value the feminine. No, it's about bringing them together. And as you do, as you honor them, you're going to see and feel a greater sense of renewal. You're going to experience a greater feeling of personal peace. So I encourage you all to do that this next week. And so feeding your soul is about honoring and valuing the feminine resources within you, regardless of your gender. Again, to be creative, to be passionate, to explore your emotions, to open up to your intuition. Let your intuition be there and the wisdom that it can offer you. Let yourself explore. And that's one of the ways to deepen and renew your connection with your soul. And to just think about it. What can you do to deepen and to express more of your soul's power? To allow it to be renewed by your consciousness, by valuing it, by honoring it, by letting go of the old patterns of discounting and devaluing it, to really make it matter. And only you can do that. I can inspire you, I can encourage you, but I can't do it for you. Only you can do that.